G'day team, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing some more pro analysis, but a little bit different today. We are looking at liquid nats in a ranked game rather than in a pro match. And I think this can be super valuable for all you guys trying to improve your ranked gameplay. Obviously, pro matches and ranked games are completely different in the way that they play out, even at the highest level. So the things that we're able to pick up in this analysis should be a lot more directly transferable to your ranked games. Today we are looking at Nats playing Cypher on Pearl, and I thought there were some really interesting takeaways in how he pressured the map on attack side specifically. There is a plethora of content out there for Cypher setups on defense, kill trips, one-way cages, all that kind of jazz. What we're going to focus on is the attack side, because so often I see Cyphers getting lost on the attack and not using Cypher to his maximum potential. And there's some really cool things that you can do with Cypher on attack. Alrighty, jumping straight into it on round one, we have a Cypher trip here, making sure that you can't jump or crouch under it. Really important thing for any of you guys that are beginners out here. And this Cypher cage is the first thing that I want to point out. Okay, so you might be a little bit confused about this cage, because one of the first things that you learn as a smoke player is to not smoke off your own pathways. And that's effectively what a cage is, right? But this cage is actually really quite important. And I'm going to show you guys why here so you know how and when to use it for yourself. So here's a very short explanation of angle density. So imagine yourself as an attacker on Pearl. You're running down B long towards attacking the B site. As a defender, the only place that you can be coming from is this corner. So you can hard hold this angle. And prior to this patch, you would often see a chamber with an op holding this angle, because then he could TP away back to side B, this very first early angle. So clearing out this pillar was always really, really important. On this patch, that might be a little bit less prevalent, but it doesn't solve the issue of, as an attacker, that you're swinging into at least 5 different potential angles. And so you have an angle density of 1 versus 5. It's a hugely advantageous fight for the defenders, because you can see here, chamber could be here or here, and this could be any agent here with an op or with a rifle. So as an attacker swinging around, you have to clear at least 5 different angles, not to mention any weird off angles. So you throw the cage so your team can cross over to the console and create all of these different angle peaks from on top of the console out to the left side of the console, potentially, you know, through the cage or flash through the cage, something like that. Above, low, high, still this corner here as well. The defenders can no longer hold just one angle. You can peek out from a bunch of angles. So now that the defenders can no longer hold just one angle, they have to be much more cautious about this fight, because you could peek out at a bunch of different angles all at once as well, and trade out. Any trades that you can get as an attacker allows you to take space, and it's in your advantage as an attacker to get less agents on the map. Side note, this doesn't have to be a Cypher cage. Something that we see a lot at the pro level is a dissipate here from Astra. Omen can teleport across. A little bit riskier, Raze can satchel across, and Yoru can also gate crash across. And this is nice because you can get all the way to the other side. Arbor can do something like this with Cascade to allow you to cross. Or you can use Cove, but Cove's quite an expensive ability for this one little moment. Cove costs you 350 credits. You know, compare that to a Dissipate, which is free, or a Cypher Cage, which is 100 credits. Probably not the best ability to use in this situation. So coming back into the match now, you can see Nats just sending it down B long, running up behind the Prowler with his team. I don't think you would expect to see this particular positioning from Nats in a pro match, but what it does, it allows him to get into this really forward position. Nice that he doesn't get spotted by the Prowler, is able to get this nice off angle on fade, and continues to push through to the spawn side of sight. Now, because he's so far forward, he gets a really nice timing here on the Neon, who's just sprinting from the other side. And this is a little bit of Cypher tech here. Imagine the cam is like a Reyna Leer. You're forcing the crosshair of your opponent over towards this side, forcing them to shoot it out and swinging off of that. And unfortunately, for the Yoru, he falls for it. Nats gets traded out and they lose the fight. All right, coming into round 6 here, this is a really great example of comms and game sense, and something that you can really take advantage of with Cypher, because you can often be playing in interesting positions away from your team. Getting info that your team is not aware of and comming it to your team and making calls is a really, really important part of playing Cypher on attack. And so let's watch Nats in an example here. Now we're going to get this nice opening pick, he actually gets a double kill, sort of collateral.
Oh, rush B now, rush B.
And you hear that? Rush B. Okay, so Nats gets this double pick right here to start off the round. And he calls rush B straight away. And you might be thinking, what's so special about that? We got 2 on B, we should go B. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Most of the time, this is going to be the correct call. But if this double kill is the only information that we have, we're making the assumption that our defenders are set up in some kind of spread default kind of way. We don't know if they're actually gone 5B and created a trap like this or something like that. However, there is more information and that leads to Nat making the call so quickly. So what other information am I talking about that Nats is taking in all at once to make this call? Let's have a look.
Oh, rush B now, rush B.
You see it? We have a slow orb that comes out here. We have a prowler and an eye that come out of art as well. So that means that Fade and Sage are both art. We just have to deal with the Viper on B, right? No. Because if you look at the angle of the Viper wall, that means Viper, unless she came and set up this wall on A and ran directly towards B at the start of the round, she's also A. So at best, she's probably still rotating. So the B site is wide open. And so Nats just runs in here, puts the cage down, does this little Cypher cam pretend Lear swing again, and tries to create this trap play. He knows that
let me knife.
the last two are here.
Let me knife him. Wait.
There's the Viper and there's the Fade. And he ends up with this nice little 4K. Great game sense there from Nat to take in all of that information and make that call. Okay, we come into this next round and Nats is going to continue to pressure this B link area throughout this half. So he starts towards B link, the whole team's there, and so he starts to play a little bit away from his team. He's worried about this Neon pushing up out of A, but Phoenix gets the kill on her. And he's worried about the A flank because there's nothing watching it. Uses the cam to check that safely, and now he can continue on with the round, right? So he's not sitting there holding that, wasting his gun for a long period of the round. Uses the cam to check it. And then these trades come out of doors, and now we're in a 2v3. So let's check out how he plays this 2v3 with Phoenix. He checks the cam, making sure that we're not getting flanked. He knows that the Viper, again, was playing A with this wall, and there's someone B link. So the enemy team is spread here. So he's going to stop anyone peeking out of art while he can get this set up and get towards the spike and try and get this little off angle. Tries to look for a pick. Can't find anything right there. He checks his cam as he jumps off. Now, that's a little bit of Cypher tech there. There's nothing that he can do of value while he's in the air. So he takes that chance to check his Cypher cam. You only need a split second to check it. We find out that the Fade is in B link here as she throws her haunt over the wall. And we group up here with Phoenix. And what they do here is they get 3 1v2 fights. So they find the Yoru swinging through the Phoenix wall trying to find an off angle, but they fight that together. And then they find the Viper there too, and they're going to get themselves onto site. They know that Fade was B link, so Nat's calling plant. Like you have time to plant. And because she's B link, the most likely thing that the closest way that she's going to come is through art. So he holds that to protect Phoenix. A little bit of a dangerous angle to hold, but then he repositions himself and he plays with the flash, swings out, and they double swing into the Fade and they get the kill. So when you're in those situations and you know that the enemy is spread out across the map, grouping up with the remaining members of your team to force those advantageous fights for yourselves when you're down on numbers is a super strong way to play out your ranked games, because people will dry peek you solo and you will be able to kill them. All right, now round 10. This is something that is a unique strength of Cypher, the way this round plays out. And I'm going to break it down. So we're just going to watch it through. We're going to get this B link aggression. He gets the kill against the shorty on Fade, and then you can see he throws down both of his cages, throws down the eye for the peak, jiggles it, pings, and then because Sage is behind this pillar here, if she gets tagged by it, she can just get spammed as she tries to take out the dart. And then they push onto the B site and they take the B site. The rest of this round ends up being a little bit of troll. They just run around looking for the knife kills. They like literally just knife down Neon, and then they find the Yoru, and Yoru ends up getting a 4K because they're all just trying to go for the knife. But let's break down the start of this round. Now, B Link is really quite hard to push down because there's a bunch of different things that can happen to punish you as you try to push down B Link. You can have someone swing through connector with util. You can have someone ratting out in this position down here, and you know, they swing off contact with this person and this person. They can, you know, you can get swung by all of these different angles all at the same time. But Cypher's util gives you a really nice solve for this problem. So what does Nats do? He throws his Cypher cage down here and down here. And the reason why this gives you a unique advantage to just smoking this off with any other piece of vision denial util, in case you didn't know this, when an enemy walks through it, it makes a noise. And so if someone's trying to swing you from connector late, you will hear them. The second cage allows you to scale down, isolating this off angle, and then allows you to push into sight. And the cam has a unique strength here as well. Because the pillar is penetrable, you can shoot through it and spam anyone playing on the pillar angle. So Cypher provides this really great way to pressure through B Link really as safely as possible, effectively, all for 200 credits. Each cage is 100, the camera's free, and you get this really, really nice push through B Link. This is something that you can also do solo to create a lot of pressure. You probably just want some kind of entry utility to get through the wood doors, and then you're good to go ahead and try and make a play. So we're coming into round 12 here, and we have some pressure A, and Nats again on this lurky sort of mid-lurk, pressuring B Link again, using that strength that Cypher has. And as you can see, with a little bit of movement tech, this sage wall is completely useless. Most of the time you're sage walling like perpendicular to the entrance that you're trying to block, like all of this kind of stuff. You're just walling from wall to wall. But when you have a really skinny entrance, what you'll see sometimes is that a sage wall might come through like this. And the reason for that is you now have to break more than one segment to get through that sage wall. The most notable scenario is on Icebox, where instead of just walling across tube like this, where the defenders would only have to break one sage wall to open up that pathway again. But if you wall down a long tube, like vertically or parallel with the tube, all of a sudden you get 4 times the amount of value out of the sage wall, as they have to break all 4 segments to get through. So you're not getting through that. You're wasting way too much time and effort trying to get through that sage wall. So that's what the sage is trying to do here outside of B Link. Unfortunately, it's useless here because you can jump over it because of that little section in mid. And the Nats goes very quietly here. Because the sage thinks this is a completely protected space, she rotates right off of it and goes to help with the A pressure. Nats continues on this lurk, checking all of these angles very, very carefully. And he finds the Yoru here. Again, looking for that knife. Yoru turns at the wrong time though, but it's too late. And then this is really, really nice. So Nats pushes himself back up into B Link. And then as his team's pushing onto site, if I just go back a second there, he's got the 2 cages. He's going to pop them. This one is unnecessary. I think he just does it out of habit. But he pops both of them. And as you can see, it's just blocking off his own vision. And he uses this cam to hold this space really safely. And you can see that he's looking in the middle here, because if you're just looking up here ready for the tag, you lose vision of this walkout here. Slightly better cam would have been to put this lower on the ground so that you could see the heaven walkout as well, and you'd still get this B Link information. What ends up happening is that Fade gets a pick in mid and then warts back through B Link. So with the Fade in that area, Nats rotates back onto site and then pushes in with this breach and Fade ultimate. Gets a nice little pick on the Viper, and then somehow the Fade, through all of that util, avoided it and swung out, but it gets traded. And they win that round, going into the second half, 7-5. The match ends up going into overtime. This is going to be a little bit of deja vu here. And I wanted to show this round to show people are creatures of habit. Especially Valorant players, they'll do the same kind of setups round to round to round. See, Sage makes a little bit of a different wall here, and Nats doesn't quite get it at first. Makes it a little bit trickier. Sage probably thought that she had adapted here, but she hadn't. Not in a meaningful way. Nats is able to do this exact same lurk. And you can see the trigger discipline that he shows here. When you have these positions, always just wait and wait and wait, because there's generally going to be an opportunity. That's the opportunity. He gets both. He does those same cages and this same camera. Gets the trip up this time because he already has players in B link. So he doesn't need this connector trip as much, because he's going to be fighting this and helping these guys get through link. So he wants to stop that push out from spawn. See, he pushes up here through this wall to fight with the Phoenix. Team's coming onto site, so he puts the cages up. Phoenix has this wall here, and he trades the Phoenix out. And then we get the information.
I have CT out. I have CT.
And then he just ends up playing off of his cam here. Unfortunately, loses that fight to the Viper. But because we have the lineups here, Viper's able to clutch out this round. But yeah, you can see how Nats is abusing this B link pressure to create so much space for his team. The rest of his team is just getting to walk down B long for free onto site. And then he goes back in and plays in B link and gets to make the most of how that is such a tricky space to clear, especially with his cam and his teammates. He's able to trade them out, play these tricky angles, make it really hard for the retake of the defending team. And the final round that we're going to look at today is the last attacking round in the match. It's 15-15. Nats is coming late to this post plant, throws this cage down, gets the camera onto the thing. He comms, I have camera. And so the reason for this camera is so that you can activate it and see if they're actually on spike, whether or not they're just tapping it. It creates that pressure for the defenders. And so he plays this really passive position, and then his camera gets broken and he immediately shifts. And so now he's like, okay, well, I've got to make a play here. So he throws his cage down and he gets into this nice little angle, comes through spamming, just making sure that they can't be on the spike, and then comes back, dives in and out, gets back to safety, and now they're in a 2v1 situation. And so here we have the wall. We just start spamming the spike, 1v2. Fade gets taken out. We run out of bullets and we switch guns and kill the Viper. So this is your reminder to use your full kit. Think creatively about how you can use your kit to create pressure and take space and get kills. You know, this is a really nice play from Nats using the whole kit of Cypher. It's really, really important that you are using your util. That's what gives you the advantage in Valorant. How best you use your util over your opponents to make the fights better in your favor. Great example from Nats in this round. So they do go on to win this final round and close out the match. Nats ends up with 35 kills for the round. On defense, he ended up playing a lot of heavy setup and then a no util retake on the other side of the map. So there wasn't too much to look at in this match for the defensive side, which is why I focused on that attacking half. But I thought the attacking half was a really great showcase of how you can use Cypher utility on the attacking side. You know, often he would only put out one trip on the attacking side and save that second trip to get a really forward piece of information and deny a rotate. Use those cages for information and vision denial as well. It's a huge feature of the Cypher cages that you get a sound cue when someone walks into them. Think about ways that you can use and abuse that feature of them. Every agent in Valorant is of course unique, but some agents have specific bits of util that are unique to only that piece of util in the game, which allows you to use them in quite creative and specific scenarios that other agents can't do. And that's going to be the reason why you pick certain agents on certain maps. And it gives you a unique advantage in how you can play the space on that map. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this has been helpful for anyone wanting to learn Cypher or improve their Cypher gameplay. Obviously on defense, Cypher has quite a straightforward play style that to start with and is easy to get into. There's more you can do with him outside of that as well. But from a baseline level, the attacking side is a little bit harder to get your head around and can be a little bit confusing in how to best get value out of his kit and how to play him and what positions you should sort of be playing in. I think a lot of people sort of resort to just hard lurking without making the most of their utility because they're not sure exactly how they should be using it. Cypher actually has a lot in his kit that allows him to take space. He's sort of an initiator subclass, more coming on agent subclasses on a video in the near future. Thank you so much for watching. There will be more of this type of content in the future, but if you also like pro match analysis, breaking down pro level strategies, do us both a favor and hit that subscribe button. I have a new video coming out every day. If you want to see my initial thoughts and reactions to the videos that I analyze and break down, I stream on Twitch, and often I am doing that kind of analytical content as well as playing my own games and a bunch of other things related to Valorant. If you have any queries, theories, questions, or suggestions about this video, past videos, or what you would like to see in future videos, please don't hesitate to comment below or join the Discord and have a conversation with me there. Until tomorrow, have a good one.